Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to cover how to prepare your references for 3D modeling. So I have Photoshop open and I'm going to go ahead and open my files, and I have taken all of these references. I'm going to go ahead and open all of them. This might take a second for them all to open. Okay, so I set up a little backdrop thinking that it might help my photos, especially if I need to clean them up in Photoshop. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way back to the first image. Now, I've labeled all of these, as I recommend you should also, and what we're going to do is make sure you get your photo references, and then we will be prepping them to be imported into Maya, and then we're going to go ahead and model it. In this case, I'm kind of doing a 3D model self-portrait. You can do whatever you'd like. One of the things you can always do also, if you don't want to model yourself, is if you would like, you can always go ahead and sort of do your own little images yourself. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and just show you pretty quickly. Okay, change my color here. If you want, you can always do some type of, little drawing if you'd like. And let's just say you wanted to do like an alien head or something. You could always do your own little drawing, and that could be your... It's a terrible alien. But if you wanted to, you could do your own sketch and create your own character. In this case, I'm just going to stick with what I've got. I'm going to do a self-portrait, basically. But you're free to do whatever type of character you would like. The only restrictions is it cannot be any copywritten character, so no famous sort of, video game characters, or you get the idea. So anything is free to go as long as it is not under some type of copyright law. Now, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. So the first thing we want to do is, you'll notice that I'm in a T-pose here. This is known as a T-pose. Let me go ahead and create a new layer. So it's because basically I'm in a T. Okay, and you'll notice my side, I don't have my arm sticking out, and this is really just for my own personal reference to get an idea of when I'm modeling, the length of my arm from this view. So I'll be able to have a pretty good reference on scale and proportion of my model. So, always extremely important to have. Going back to my front reference, front body, go ahead and delete this. I'm going to start to crop this. And I think that's pretty good. Okay. If I wanted to, I could duplicate this if you wanted to clear the entire background. That's always an option if you'd like. Whoops, I'm in minus. Here we go. If you'd want, you could do something like this and just kind of get rid of the entire background. That's totally fine. And what I would do is, I'm using the magic wand tool, quick selection tool, excuse me, and I use the plus up here, and if I would like, I could use the minus if I need to, like where I kind of do right here. Okay, and then I'll try that plus tool one more time. And then I'll go back to my minus tool and see how well it works. This is based on a color range. This doesn't need to be exactly perfect, but I want to make sure I get a good sense of the size of my head. As funny as that kind of sounds. So with that, I can go ahead and delete that background, and I'm going to hide my previous one, and you'll see that I'm starting to get myself like so. Again, like I had mentioned, you don't have to do this. You can just go ahead and model it. I'm going to clean it up just because I'll be working on this the entire semester, and I would like it to be as easy as possible for you. Okay, so now I'm going to go in here, delete, and then we'll see how this turns out here. I'll go minus around the shoe. Okay, I'll delete that, go back to my plus. You don't have to do this at all. I just think it might help you visually during the semester as I model, to make sure there's no other distractions that you may see. Go ahead, delete, go back to my plus, delete, and here, whoops, control plus, I'm just going to go ahead and grab an eraser tool and make it a hard edge. I pressed E, or just go over here to the eraser tool, and then just simply go through. Something like that. Okay, and around the shoe, I know I'm going to need it. And I have a subtle shadow that I'm just going to leave there just for visual reference. And one other spot. Okay. And then from this section I can just run a quick rectangular marquee tool. Highlight that, delete. And then Control D to deselect, or select deselect. Alright. Okay, so then I have that. And I'm just going to go grab my eraser tool, keyboard shortcut E. And that should pretty much do it. zoom in really quickly over here, Control plus to zoom in. And I'm just sort of getting rid of some of the flooring here that I see. And just sort of make it a little bit smoother, I guess. Alright, so if you want to do that for your assignment, that's totally fine. It's not required. Really just to have your references. And then also I'm going to go ahead and we only for this part of this assignment need a front and side. Now I recommend while you're at it to take, if you're going to go this route as like a self-portrait 3D model kind of thing. I have some strange let's see. I guess that's just how it is, sort of. So, I'm sorry, I just got distracted by the ankle here, how it kind of looks funny. I'm not too worried about it, because when we get into modeling, you'll see we're going to kind of just fill in these strange areas if you run into this issue also. Now, with that being said, for this assignment, we only need front and side, as I started to already tell you about. And I'm going to go to my side body. And then I will also crop this one. And press enter using my crop tool. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is duplicate this layer and run my selection tool. And then run my minus tool. And like I had mentioned, this runs, it's based on more or less color selection. So it's able to get a pretty good readout. You'll see as I got into my hair region, it kind of started to select some of the head and my goatee here. I'll go back to my plus, select, run a minus, on this one I want to be a little bit more careful around the edges, simply because on the front reference I can always do what is called either mirroring or symmetry, run a symmetry on it, excuse me, and make sure I get the shoe. Make sure if you're going this route also that you are you have a back foot. So primarily, usually in modeling, because the front foot in an image such as this is typically more forward, it tends to be longer than it should be in proportion to 3D. So when we get into modeling, if you take your own photographic references, make sure that you have the back foot in here included. Whoop. And I'm going to run a delete, and I'm going to hide this one and just see. Okay, good. And then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the bottom images. I'm going to press Control D for deselect or select, deselect. I'm going to switch to a plus, and I'm going to run a little small minus here, and this is actually the heel of this shoe. I'm going to just run a delete there, and then also go back to my plus, Control D, and now I'm going to select this part, and then go minus and zoom in, and then that should almost do it, and then I'm going to go right around this section here. And now I'm going to press delete, and then Control D, and I'm going to run my eraser tool to sort of clean up the last parts of this. Okay. Alright. Now I'm also going to run a background color. You can create a new layer down here. And I'm going to use my fill bucket tool. Paint bucket tool, excuse me. And I'm just going to run it as a black. And that is going to be my reference. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this image with the background image. Call this side reference and call this background color. I recommend saving this. I'm going to run a new folder and call this modeling references. And in here it's going to be side body. I'm going to save it out as a Photoshop file. I keep the original file in the folder in case I need to make any adjustments later. And I'm going to now take both of these images. I can press Control J to duplicate and Control E to merge. Okay? Or you can do it this way, duplicate, and then Control E to merge. Either way, you just want to have them, if you did it this way, it doesn't matter if you have a background image or not. I just wanted to make sure that this was as clear as possible when going around my reference. So I'm going to go ahead and now press Control A for select all on my merged copy here, and Control C. So Control A is select all, and Control C is edit copy. So Control A, Control C, and now I'm going to go back to my front body reference. I'm going to zoom out. And what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that our references are scaled proportionately. So I'm going to go Image, Canvas Size. I'm going on the anchor, I'm going to press the left one, and then from here I'm going to change this to %, and I'm going to say 150 in the width column. So it's going to scale outward this way. Okay. Now with my copied side view, I'm going to press Control Shift V. That's paste in place. And now I'm going to go use my move tool, and I'm going to go ahead and slide this over. Now you're going to notice right away that turning on your rulers, I believe, is Control R. Yep. Or you can go into, I believe, window. I think rulers are in here. Let's see. I don't see them in here. Or view maybe. And it could be because I'm actually, make sure I'm in the right one. Oh, it's under view and rulers, Control R. So Control R will toggle them on and off. So one of the things you're going to notice right away, this is going to be my side reference. And I'm going to copy both of these. I'm going to create a duplicate copy of these layers. Control J, and then Control E for merge. Control J duplicates layers. Control E merges layers. Another way to, if you wanted to select one layer here and then hold Control and select another one down here, or you can select one here, and if you press Shift, holding Shift, it'll highlight all of them. If you want to deselect one of them, hold Control. Okay. Anyway, this is going to be my front reference. And in my side reference here, I'm going to press Control T, which is free transform, or edit, transform, or actually edit free transform, Control T. And I'm going to start to scale this kind of like so. I'm going to press enter. Now, the things I want to keep an eye out for, I'm going to start by clicking on my ruler up here and dragging down, is I'm looking to make sure, Control T, I'm going to resize this one more time, that these references match one another. Now I might not get a perfect reading from this because of the perspective view I have here, so my front might actually be give or take about here to line up the head view. So give or take, that might be close enough. Now other things you want to make sure, the bottom of the chin's a good spot. My bottom of the chin here matches this one, the nose and the eyes, so we'll go right to the bridge of the nose. Okay, right to the bridge of the nose, and these should, I'm going to zoom in, you should have them all line up. Okay, so there's the bridge of my nose, give or take bridge of my nose. Other things we can do is match up about the belt size. Now my arms are up here, so my shirt's actually lifted, so the shirt's a tough one to go by with that. So I want to go about, I know this is about this where my waist is. I can start to see the incline here where my waist and belt would be, and I think that's a pretty good idea. Pectorals are usually a good spot, and or nipples, which would be roughly give or take about here. I'd find that to be a pretty decent reference. Obviously the shoulders won't, because my shoulders are lifted here, and in here they're down. Knees are always a good one also. Dragging your ruler down, and the thing is that I'm not going off of my right front knee, I'm going off of my back leg. Okay, so I'm going off of the back leg, and my back leg knee would be roughly, I'm guessing, about here, given the position of the actual foot. And then on my foot, I can't really get a great perspective of it because this is forward perspective where this is side. But if this were side view, I would say that lines up pretty decent. Going by about the middle or the heel, give or take, I have a subtle little reference here with the red on the shoe that I'm wearing right down here. Lining up. So I think this is a pretty good reference portion. So I think I'm ready to start to get this saved out as an image file, ready for my image planes that I'm going to import into Autodesk Maya. So I would like you to take a screenshot of your image like so, with your rulers dragged over the proportions to make sure that your proportions on both images line up correctly. This is typically an excellent practice, and it will assist you in modeling this semester. So the closer you can get it, the better. It doesn't have to be absolute perfect, and as our models probably won't all be perfect, but we're going to do our best. So now that I've got all my rulers set and I'm pleased with the proportions on my character, if your character, let's just say, has a belly button I'm going to guess is roughly around here. Make sure the belly buttons line up and so on and so forth. So knees, waist, your nipples, your chin, your eyes, the top of your head, and your shoes. You could even go by possibly ankle. My ankle's about here. My ankle would be roughly about here on the other foot. So not the close leg, the far leg. So those are some of our reference points that we can be pretty sure and pretty positive that they line up properly, ready for our model. So now, with that being said, I'm going to just simply crop this up to here. Okay. And actually, I can just want to make sure before I do that. it cuts off my leg if I crop it. Oop. So I'm going to keep my foot there just in case I ever need a backup reference copy of this. But I can go ahead and take my front reference, that's this image. Ooh. Hide this one. Okay, and hide this one. Excuse me, I was getting confused there for a second with my other layers because I don't have them named. Front edit, BKG for background, and I'm going to go ahead and just toss these in a folder. So I'm going to control click both of these, and in my folder, create a new group, and I'm going to call this Originals. Now this is simply in case I need to go back and make any edits to this, but I'm pretty pleased with this so far. Now with my front reference highlighted here, I'm going to Control A for select all, Control C for copy, and then I'm going to do File New or Control N. This should automatically adjust the pixel size to fit the image that you have. So I'm going to hit Create, and then I'm going to press Control V. So this is going to be my front reference. So now File, Save As, and in here I'm going to call this front reference, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG. So front reference or front body reference. Save. And JPEG options, I'm going to make it large file, maximum, and OK. Now going back here to my front body here, I'm going to go to my side reference. I'm just going to click on the layer. Everything in this image selection here should be there, so I'm going to press Control C. Now I'm going to do File, New, and in here you'll see it adjust automatically to what you have copied on the clipboard. Press Create, Control V, and this is going to be my side reference. So I'm going to File, Save As, side body reference, and I'm going to save this out as a JPEG also. And then I'm going to go ahead and click Save and click OK. Now going back to my front body, I'm going to keep this file in case I need to go back and make adjustments at any time. Control Shift S to save as, and I'm going to name this body references, and I'll go in here and save it in this folder, my modeling references, and click Save, and I should be good to go now. So for your submission, all you need to do is make sure that you submit a file with your front reference and your side reference, your original, or not your original, your edited images. You don't have to do this background. I just thought it might help and be a little bit more clear cut for you when I'm modeling in Maya. And one screenshot of your body references.psd, and one screenshot of your image with your rulers on, showing the proper proportions on both images, front and side. Okay, so that's all I have for this lab. And this is what we'll be working on for the rest of the semester. So Like I said, it can be images that you hand drew yourself. Just make sure you draw proportions properly. If you wanted to do anything you wanted that you drew yourself, any type of character, an alien, or I don't know, a pirate or whatever, you can go ahead and do that. So just make sure that it's your own work or copyright free, and make sure your references are scaled properly. It will make your life much easier when going ahead and modeling in Autodesk, so Maya. So make sure you submit a screenshot of this file where you have them proportionately sized properly, and a image of your front reference that you're going to be using and your side reference. Those are the only two that are required for this, so for this assignment. So make sure that you go ahead and do that. Submit front reference that you're going to use, side reference that you're going to use, and a screenshot of your PSD file with your rulers on, showing the proper proportions. If it's not a self-portrait that you're doing, make sure that even with your hand-drawn images or whatever image references you're using, be sure that they line up properly. All you need is a front reference, side reference, and screenshot with rulers on of both files being proportionate. Okay, so that's all I've got for this. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.